especially indebted to you, sir, because for over 50 years you have fought impunity in our country and in the African continent. And this is, for me, the greatest irony of what is going on. I'm sure you are all aware, or you will recall, when a tiny cabal of powermongers swore that Vice President Goodluck Jonathan will not be allowed to succeed the sick Yar'Adua, the late Umaru Yar'Adua. Professor Soyinka led us in Lagos and Abuja to protest on the street to ensure that the Constitution was followed on that occasion. Hence the emergence of Vice President Goodluck as acting president of Nigeria. If the same guy is now promoting dictatorship in our country, we also have a duty to call him to order on the vicarious liability of the presidency, which has been alluded to by Prof. When somebody was going to get a governor abducted, exactly 10 years, for 10 yesterday, marked the 10-year anniversary of Dr. Chris Ngige's abduction while he was governor of Anambra State. The same way the president was out of the country. It's a common practice. Please do it while I'm away. The president was out of the country. But for the intervention of the vice president on that occasion, who stood his ground, that is Abubakar Atiku, Ngige would have been adopted and perhaps killed by those official thugs. A couple of years later, when the president wanted to impose the third-term agenda on Nigeria, the day the National Assembly was to take a vote, he was in France. He was also not in the country. This time around, those who set the engine of illegality in motion in Port Harcourt, Rivers State, are out of the country. But just yesterday, our president addressed a meeting of African ambassadors in Beijing, China, and the totality of his statement, the gravamen of his address, was that African countries should strengthen institutions of democracy. Of course, you can see what is going on in Port Harcourt, where 5 legislators accompanied, and this is very important, accompanied by an army of thugs and policemen, invaded the chambers of the House of Assembly of Rivers State. And the 5 of them, with the support of the police at the highest level, announced the removal of the principal officers of the House under Section 92, subsection 2 of the Constitution. An elected Speaker of the House of Assembly cannot be removed without a resolution supported by 2/3 majority of the entire members. In the case of Port Harcourt, in the case of Rivers State, you needed 22 members of the House, but they have 32 members. But 22 of them are required by law, by the Constitution, to remove the Speaker. But the ruling party has already commended or congratulated the legally imposed Speaker, just to emphasize the culture of impunity in our country, the level of absurdity that is going on. Again, on vicarious liability of the presidency, because somebody addressed the press yesterday and said, oh, as usual, the president has no hand in it. This one. Just lower door. When you were going to have the election of the governors, the president was in Ethiopia. You can just imagine the president must be out of the country when the constitution of our country is going to be preached at the highest level. What happened? We also told the president has no hand in the governor's election. Why are you dragging the president to it? But shortly thereafter, the president received an audience in the villa. The man who scored 16 votes and granted the plea of the man who scored 19 votes. So don't be surprised if the illegally imposed speaker, purportedly elected by 5 legislators, is welcomed in the villa, while, of course, the man recognized by the entire house, including the 5, will again be treated with contempt by the presidents. But what is important for me is to let you know that we have gone through this dangerous route before. And that is why, and I think that is the challenge before us, and I think that is the message Prof is passing across. We must tell these guys that we are not a conquered people. In the case of Oyo State, in 2006, a thug gathered a few legislators and got them to sit in a hotel, not in the House of Assembly, where they purportedly impeached the governor of the state. The Supreme Court made it clear on that occasion. Any business of a House of Assembly conducted outside the chambers is illegal. And furthermore, that you cannot fractionalize, you cannot have a minority of legislators impeaching the governor of a state because the governor has been elected by the entire state. So if you are going to remove him, you need not less than the votes of 2/3 majority of the legislators. That was the judgment of the Supreme Court. The emperor then disregarded the judgment of the Supreme Court until the Nigerian people insisted that lawyer had to be restored. In the case of Plateau State, at the time the governor was impeached, only 8 legislators were in office. All the other 16 have lost their seats because they had decamped and INEC had declared their seats vacant. But the Supreme Court still roared and made the point abundantly clear. 8 of you cannot under any circumstance constitute 2/3 majority of the membership of the House. A House of 24 members. 8 of you in peacetime and in wartime cannot constitute the 2/3 majority of the members. The case of Rivers State is more absurd, more odious, where 5 people out of a house of 32 members, aided by the state, invaded the House of Assembly via Vietnamese, unleashed violence on the other members, chased them out of the premises of the House, and sat to carry out infamy endorsed by the presidency. So when somebody tells you the president is not involved, the silence of the presidency, wherever it may be, is a confirmation of the official endorsement of the crisis that is going on in Port Harcourt. Just this morning, the Minister of Finance, Mrs. Okonjo-Iweala, issued a statement in China, a message to the National Assembly that I'm not responsible for the darkness in the country. I have not withheld funds. So if this Minister of Finance can issue a statement from China, why has the president not given another as the commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Nigeria to stop the mess that is going on in Port Harcourt, Rivers State? Therefore, let no one fool Nigerians We know where this is coming from. The current Inspector General of Police launched a call for police officers in Abuja in February this year. I was invited by the IG. And in that code, the IG made it clear that no police officer in Nigeria under his tenure will get involved in partisan politics, and that any policeman, any police officer who does that will be sanctioned. We are calling MD Abubakar IGP to begin the implementation of the Code of Conduct for Police Officers by removing